I'm not giving you the money. My grandfather's words echoed through his mahogany-paneled study, each syllable sharp and deliberate. I stood frozen, 28 years old, still dressed in my tailored investment banking suit. My carefully prepared business proposal trembled in my hands. Not until you prove you can handle it. That was not what I had expected when he called me to discuss my share of the family inheritance. As the eldest granddaughter and the only one with an MBA, I had assumed he was finally ready to pass down the reins of our family's real estate empire. Instead, he slid an envelope across his antique desk. Inside was a check for $50,000, just a fraction of what I had anticipated, along with a handwritten note. Show me what you can build with this in 1 year. Then we'll talk about the rest. Looking back now, as I signed the final papers to acquire our 10th luxury apartment complex, I understood what my grandfather was trying to teach me. But at that moment, all I felt was frustration, tinged with something dangerously close to fury. The Lauren family had built its fortune through real estate, beginning with my great-grandfather's first apartment building in 1947. By the time I was born, we owned properties across 3 states. While other children played in parks, I attended property viewings. I learned about capitalization rates before I even mastered long division. Our family dinners felt more like board meetings, filled with discussions on market trends, property valuations, and investment strategies. My grandfather, Richard Lauren, had transformed a modest portfolio of residential properties into a billion-dollar enterprise. He was a legend in the real estate world, known for his uncanny ability to identify emerging markets before anyone else. His methods to outsiders seemed almost mystical, a fusion of extensive market research, strategic networking, and what he called street sense. But he was also infamous for his unwavering adherence to traditional business methods and his resistance to modern technology. I still remember the first time I noticed the gap between his old-school approach and the potential of modern advancements. I was 24, fresh out of business school, shadowing him during a property assessment. While he walked through the neighborhood, chatting with local shop owners and residents, I was glued to my tablet, running demographic analyses, studying traffic patterns, and scanning social media sentiment about the area. When I eagerly tried to show him my findings, he waved them away. "Emily," he said, gesturing toward the busy street, "real estate isn't about spreadsheets and social media. It's about understanding the heartbeat of a neighborhood. Your father understood that." The mention of my father stunned me, just as it did now, standing in my grandfather's study. James Lauren had been the perfect bridge between my grandfather's traditional approach and the modern era. He embraced technology while maintaining the personal connections that had built our empire. His death in a car accident 5 years ago left an unfillable void in both our family and the business. My grandfather took full control again, delaying his retirement, and in turn my expected succession. That's where we clashed. I had spent 2 years at Goldman Sachs, witnessing firsthand how technology was revolutionizing real estate. I saw opportunities in data analytics, artificial intelligence, and digital property management. Innovations my grandfather dismissed as unnecessary gimmicks. My proposal aimed to modernize our family business, beginning with a complete digital transformation of our property management system. I had meticulously crafted my presentation, comprehensive market analysis, cost projections, ROI calculations, and case studies of successful digital shifts in the industry. I even included testimonials from top industry leaders who had embraced similar innovations. But my grandfather hadn't even bothered to open it. "Emily," he said, leaning back in his leather chair, "real estate isn't about computers. It's about understanding people, walking the streets, feeling the pulse of a neighborhood. Your father understood that." Standing in his study that day, I made a decision. "Fine," I said, picking up the check. 1 year. Without another word, I walked out, my heels clicking against the marble floors of the mansion where I had grown up. My mother was waiting in the foyer, concern etched across her face. She had always played the role of mediator between my grandfather's old-school mentality and my modern approach. "He's testing you," she said softly, squeezing my arm. "He did the same thing to your father." That night, instead of returning to my luxury apartment, a graduation gift from my grandfather, I went to my best friend Rachel's modest two-bedroom unit in an up-and-coming neighborhood. Over cheap wine and takeout, I started formulating a plan. Rachel, a software developer at a major tech firm, had been my sounding board throughout my career. She had helped me grasp the technical aspects of my digital transformation proposal. Now, she was helping me recognize the opportunity in my grandfather's challenge. "Think about it," she said, refilling our glasses. "He's giving you a chance to prove your concept without risking the entire family business. This could be exactly what you need." The next morning, I made a bold move. I resigned from my banking job and rented a small office in the same neighborhood where Rachel lived. Rachel thought I was crazy to walk away from a six-figure salary. But I saw an opportunity. The neighborhood was undergoing rapid gentrification, yet unlike other developing areas, it had a strong community of local business owners determined to preserve its character. I spent my first month simply walking the streets, talking to residents and entrepreneurs. I learned about their fears of being priced out, their aspirations for the neighborhood, and their frustrations with distant, profit-driven landlords. Every conversation reinforced what I had suspected. There was a way to develop real estate that benefited both investors and the community. Maria, a bakery owner of 20 years, shared her perspective while kneading dough. "I've seen 3 different property managers come and go, each one more disconnected from us than the last," she said. "They don't get it. A neighborhood is like a garden. You can't just buy it and expect it to flourish. You have to nurture it." Using $30,000 of my grandfather's money, I purchased and renovated a small mixed-use building. The previous owner had neglected it for years, using it mostly for storage. The renovation process became my first real test as a property developer, and it taught me lessons no business school ever could. I collaborated with local contractors, many of whom recounted anecdotes about my father's fairness and unwavering integrity. Miguel, our family's trusted electrician for generations, shared how my father had played a pivotal role in helping him launch his own business, even going as far as co-signing his initial business loan. It became evident that my father had an entire life within these neighborhoods that I had been completely unaware of. The renovation project served as the perfect setting to implement my technological strategy. Working late nights and weekends alongside Rachel, I developed an exclusive app that enabled tenants to submit rent payments, request maintenance, and communicate seamlessly. However, it extended beyond standard property management functions. The platform incorporated features that supported local business promotion, organized community events, and facilitated neighborhood resource sharing. The ground floor was transformed into a dynamic co-working hub for local entrepreneurs, offering adaptable leasing arrangements that made it accessible to small businesses. To enhance efficiency, I integrated intelligent building systems designed to optimize energy consumption and bolster security, all while preserving the building's cherished historic essence. Within 6 months, the property reached full occupancy, with a waiting list forming. The co-working space evolved into a thriving communal nucleus, hosting an array of activities from business seminars to neighborhood council meetings. The property's value surged by 40%, but more importantly, it became a pioneering model for sustainable urban development. Throughout this period, my grandfather never reached out to me directly. Instead, I received periodic updates from my mother. She assured me that he was watching, keeping a close eye on my progress through his vast network of connections. My primary focus was to disprove his skepticism about technology while simultaneously validating his belief in the importance of understanding people. With the remaining $20,000, I expanded my vision, developing a more advanced property management platform that incorporated blockchain for transparent record-keeping and AI-driven predictive maintenance. When multiple local property owners expressed interest in using the platform for their own buildings, I realized I had created something far greater than a mere management tool. The platform, which I named NeighborHub, became a comprehensive solution for landlords aiming to maintain strong community ties while maximizing operational efficiency. It encompassed features for promoting local businesses, organizing communal events, and facilitating neighborhood collaboration. The AI component anticipated maintenance requirements and optimized energy efficiency, while the blockchain framework ensured secure transactions and verifiable record-keeping. Rachel played a key role in refining the technical aspects, dedicating her evenings and weekends in exchange for equity in what we both recognized as a groundbreaking venture. We later brought in her colleague Marcus, a UX designer who had grown up in the neighborhood, to ensure the platform was intuitive and accessible for users of all technological skill levels. 11 months after that defining conversation in my grandfather's study, I returned to his home. This time, I came prepared with audited financial reports showcasing a 60% return on investment, glowing testimonials from satisfied tenants, and compelling statistics demonstrating how our tech-driven approach had reduced operational costs by 35% while increasing tenant satisfaction by 50%. The presentation included case studies from 3 additional property owners who had implemented NeighborHub, each experiencing similar enhancements in their operations. I also provided a community impact report, documenting how our strategy had preserved local businesses and strengthened neighborhood bonds. He listened intently, his expression unreadable. Once I concluded, he silently walked over to his wall safe and retrieved a thick folder. Placing it on the desk, he spoke at last. "Your father," he said, his voice carrying a rare hint of emotion, "left these for you." Inside were meticulously detailed notes chronicling every property he had managed, every relationship he had fostered, and every lesson he had internalized. In the margins were his aspirations for the company's future, including conceptual sketches for a digital property management system strikingly similar to the one I had built. He knew, my grandfather continued, adjusting his glasses, that the business would need to evolve. And he also knew that you would be the one to do it. He paused, his tone thick with sentiment. I needed to be certain you could honor his legacy while forging your own. Today, Lauren Properties bears little resemblance to the company my great-grandfather founded. We have transcended conventional real estate ventures, venturing into property technology, with NeighborHub now serving thousands of properties across the nation. Yet at our core we remain steadfast in our guiding principle, recognizing that real estate is, above all, about people and communities. Though officially retired, my grandfather still visits the office weekly. He has even learned to navigate an iPad, albeit with frequent grumbling, and has become an unlikely advocate for our technological initiatives. His street-level wisdom, fused with our digital innovations, has birthed something truly distinctive within the industry. Last month, during the unveiling of our latest mixed-use development, I spotted my grandfather deep in conversation with a young tech entrepreneur discussing her vision for an AI-powered urban planning tool. Later, he pulled me aside and, with misted eyes, murmured words that would remain with me forever. "Your father would be proud," he said, his voice warm with sincerity. "Not just of what you built, but how you built it." In my office hangs a framed check for $50,000, positioned alongside my father's handwritten notes. They serve as daily reminders that the most valuable inheritance is not wealth or property. It is the challenge to prove oneself worthy of the past while possessing the courage to craft something new. Looking back on that pivotal day in my grandfather's study, I now understand that he gave me something far more valuable than money. He granted me the chance to prove that innovation and tradition are not adversaries, but rather partners in the creation of a lasting legacy.